Ever wondered why you keep self-sabotaging? What if I told you that the biggest obstacle standing between you and your dreams isn't the world around you, but the one inside your mind? What if you're not failing because you're not good enough, but because you've convinced yourself that you don't deserve success? I know this might sound harsh, but hear me out. I spent years caught in a cycle of self-sabotage, and I'm here to tell you, you're not alone. If you've ever wondered why you keep holding yourself back, why success feels just out of reach, or why you've sabotaged your own progress even when you knew better, this is for you. Let me take you back to a time in my life when I was on the verge of something big, something I'd worked for tirelessly, and yet I still found ways to mess it up. I remember waking up every day with a gnawing feeling in my stomach, knowing that the next big step in my career, my life, or my relationships was right in front of me, but I still couldn't reach it. It was like standing on the edge of a cliff, staring down at the most beautiful view, and then, just when I was about to step forward, I took a step back. I'd make mistakes I knew I'd regret, say things I didn't mean, or sabotage the things I cared about most. I felt stuck in this loop of almost there but not quite. Every time I looked at my life, I felt like I had so much potential, but it was like I was constantly tripping over my own feet. I'd set goals, feel the excitement of starting something new, and then, somewhere along the way, I'd lose momentum. I'd fall into old habits, doubting myself, procrastinating, and avoiding the very things that could help me move forward. It was exhausting, and the worst part? I knew I was doing it to myself. But why? Why was I sabotaging my own happiness? It was like I was afraid of success, or worse, afraid of what would happen if I actually succeeded. I thought about this question over and over, asking myself why I couldn't just get out of my own way. It took me years to realize that I wasn't afraid of success at all. What I was afraid of was the responsibility that came with it, the expectations, the pressure. I had convinced myself that I didn't deserve to be happy, that I wasn't worthy of success, and deep down, I didn't know how to handle it if I got everything I wanted. The turning point came one evening when I was sitting alone in my room, scrolling through social media. I looked at all the people around me, friends, acquaintances, even strangers, living what appeared to be their best lives. They were traveling, achieving, creating. And I sat there feeling this strange sense of resentment mixed with envy. But then something shifted. I realized that these people weren't the problem. The problem wasn't with them, it was with me. I had been so focused on what everyone else was doing, so concerned about fitting into some mold of success, that I'd forgotten to ask myself the one important question: what do I really want? I had spent so much time chasing external validation, trying to prove to the world that I was enough, that I had lost sight of who I really was. And that's when it hit me. I wasn't afraid of success. I was afraid of owning it. I was afraid of stepping into my own power and allowing myself to believe that I was worthy of everything I had worked for. That realization, that simple shift in mindset, changed everything. It wasn't instant, of course, change never is. But I started with small steps. I began to confront the negative self-talk that had held me back for so long. I started recognizing when I was falling into the trap of self-sabotage, and I learned to pause before taking that next step back. It wasn't about being perfect. It was about being aware of the moments when I was about to self-destruct and learning to take a deep breath to choose a different path. It wasn't easy. There were days when the urge to self-sabotage was stronger than my willpower, when I would still procrastinate or sabotage an opportunity out of fear or doubt. But slowly, over time, I learned to catch myself. I learned to be kind to myself in those moments and understand that self-sabotage wasn't a reflection of my worth. It was a reflection of my fear. One of the most powerful realizations I had was that self-sabotage isn't always a conscious choice. It often comes from deep-rooted beliefs about ourselves that we've carried for years. Beliefs that we're not good enough, that we don't deserve success, or that we're somehow flawed. But the truth is, those beliefs don't define us. We are not our past mistakes, and we are not the sum of our fears. The more I worked on changing my mindset, the more I realized that success doesn't require perfection. It doesn't require that you never make mistakes. It simply requires that you keep moving forward, that you stop standing in your own way. I learned that progress isn't linear. There will be setbacks, there will be moments when you feel like you're back at square one, but that doesn't mean you haven't made progress. It means you're human. Here's the most important lesson I've learned. You're allowed to succeed. You're allowed to be happy. You're allowed to have the life you've always dreamed of without feeling guilty or undeserving of it. If you're struggling with self-sabotage, if you've ever found yourself asking why you keep holding yourself back, take a moment to ask yourself, what am I afraid of? What beliefs am I holding on to that no longer serve me? It's time to start breaking down those walls piece by piece. It's time to let go of the fear that has kept you stuck. And here's the truth. You're stronger than you think. You're more capable than you give yourself credit for. The life you've been waiting for is within reach, but it starts with you. It starts with recognizing that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be flawless. You just have to be willing to try to take that next step and to trust yourself. You don't have to figure everything out right away. You don't have to know the exact path you're going to take. Just start where you are. Start small. And remember, it's not about never falling down. It's about getting back up each time you do. So take a deep breath. Let go of the fear, the doubt, the need for perfection. You deserve the life you've been dreaming of. And most importantly, you deserve to stop standing in your own way. Now take that first step. Your journey to freedom starts today.